Please give Al Greer a round of applause. As we delicately, these things recline and everything, as we delicately, you know, position ourselves in these chairs.
Notice I don't have no mic no more.
His job is done. But we do.
Can we introduce my
I had a routine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll shut up now.
I just want to say good morning. I'm Nikki with. And this is the panel for the Singers Workshop. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're here to see the man. It's not me. And of course, the man that needs no introduction, Mr. Luther Vandross, was kind enough to take time out of his very busy schedule to sit with us and discuss his singing career, how he approaches his singing career, and how it is a career and not just something that he does in order to help you guys figure out how you're going to approach your singing career. And he brought some key people with him. He brought Mr. Nat Adderley, who is seating at the piano. And not only is Nat cute, but he also is the songwriting partner of Mr. Luther Vandross. And he did some key things that we're going to get into. When he's ready to play, he's ready to talk, he's ready to help us out here. So we're very privileged to have him. And then Mr. Ron Gilliard, who we just will say has no title. I walked in, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know your title. I know you're important, but I just don't. He is the singer vice president of the new record label, J Records. If you haven't heard, J Records was founded by Clive Davis, the guru Clive Davis, who was intelligent enough to bring Luther Vandross in as well. So we have all of their knowledge and information at our fingertips, but we're just going to start with Luther, and we're going to let Luther talk for a while about his background, his career, and how he has maintained so long in this business, and then we're going to open it up for some questions, okay? All right, so sit back. I'm going to feel like Oprah here. We got the leather, we got the little bottled water, we're ready. So let's start just a little bit about your background. Now, I know that you've done jingles, I know you've done commercials, and you did a lot of background work before it was Luther. It was just out there in front. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, for me, everything began. David Bowie accidentally heard me singing in a studio, and I was a kid, and I always had vocal ideas. I always had background vocal ideas, even in the projects. And when we had my little group together, I was the one that gave out all the parts and all the harmonies and stuff. And so I was in the studio visiting Carlos Alomar, who I went to school with, who had gotten the gig playing with Bowie. And I'm listening to the music, and I say to one of our friends, I said, it sounds good. I said, but it needs a hook phrase or something. I said, because, it doesn't have any hook phrase. And I started singing, the name of the album was Young Americans. And I started singing, it needs something like Young Americans, Young Americans. And Bowie, I didn't know he was sitting there listening to this whole thing. And he stood up, who are you, blah, blah, blah. And so he took me on the road with him. And that was the way things began. He introduced me to Bette Midler. Bette took me on the road with her. I was the, Bette has the background series, the three called the Harlots. I've known I was the fourth harlot for years, because I used to sit behind the curtain.
You were a harlot?
I used to sit behind the curtain and sing with my microphone stand and music and everything, and for years I toured with Bette. And then Bette introduced me to a producer, which you all probably know, named Arif Mardin. Arif Mardin, who produced, Chaka Khan and Ringo Starr and Carly Simon and all of those artists, and that's how everything got started. From then it was just connecting all the rest of the dots.
And how did you connect the rest of the dots? I mean, I know that it probably took you a lot longer. Some people just automatically, they see you and they think that you just got there, like that you were discovered in this. So I know that you did a lot of different work. Like I said before, you did some jingles and you did commercials and you did a lot of background work. And then I know you had this prestigious position of the president of Patti LaBelle's fan club.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was, yeah. That was even before all of that.
Oh,
that
really?
was when I was 17, yeah. The Apollo Theater, we had a group, we were in a group called Listen My Brother, which was owned and managed by the people who owned the Apollo Theater. And we used to get to see all the shows free. We could go into the Apollo anytime we wanted to see any show. That was one of the real big perks. We could go see. So I used to be able to see, Chuck Jackson and Benny King and the Shirelles and Dionne Warwick and Aretha 3 and 4, because they were like three shows a day. That's how the Apollo went. Just like the Regal here. That was the circuit. It was the Apollo, the Regal, and then the Uptown in Philadelphia.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's about 3 or 4 years of this jingle singing and stuff brought me to the attention of Patty Austin, who had who hired me to come and sing background vocals on a Quincy Jones album called Stuff Like That, Sounds and Stuff Like That. And Quincy heard me sing, you know, the background parts and asked me to do 2 duets on the album. And I remember asking them, I said, now, do y'all make a lot of money? Y'all make any money doing them jingles? And they laughed. They just laughed for like 10 minutes. And okay, you know. So they started calling me for jingles, and that's how that got started.
What is one of your more famous jingles?
I mean, I did Pepsi Cola, I did NBC, Proud as a Peacock.
Did you do like a margin? Like a butter commercial?
Oh, no, I don't remember butter. I didn't do butter.
I did do a butter commercial.
I did Juicy Fruit, yeah, and Reach Out and Touch Someone's Cheese. Oh, okay.
So, like, close your eyes and imagine Luther singing a jingle.
Let's see, okay.
Do we have to come back to it?
No. I'm just trying to remember how it starts.
Now, if Oprah had asked him to sing a jingle, he would have sung a jingle.
Okay. We're America's favorite, bite after bite, tender and juicy, we do it right for you. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, that's how they got so popular. Oh, Luther was selling chicken.
But wait, the thing about that was many years later. So Eddie Murphy had this album out called Delirious.
Right.
And in the album he was talking about how all the singers get the girls and all of that. And he said even Luther Vandross, a big Kentucky Fried Chicken eating bleep, can get the girls, right? So we were on the road and we were about to play Radio City Music Hall on that Saturday. It was Thursday when I heard this, and I called my managers up. I said, you got to do me a favor. I know this is a real long shot. I said, but I need a 5-foot high, 4-foot wide Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket erected. I need that made. And so they called CBS Studios and had it made, and I had it put on a dolly. And and I came out, like with a rope, and I came out pulling like dun. And since I had sung Eddie didn't know I had sung the Kentucky Fried Chicken jingle. And when I looked on the reason I did this is because I had looked on the guest list to see who was coming, and I saw Eddie's name, Eddie plus 55 people. So that's when I got the idea. I said we have to address this. This is going to be so funny. I mean, in the audience they just laughed. It was really great.
So did you sing the jingle as you pulled the
chicken? I sang the jingle, and then that struck up Never Too Much, and the show started. But it was so funny. It was really great. Wow.
So now you tell us a little bit of how you got your first record deal, because then you became Luther, and then you were just singing.
Right. Well, it's interesting because Roberta Flack. I was singing background for Roberta Flack, and she had an interview to do. She had interviews to do on this particular day, so she asked me to test out her microphone at Soundcheck. The place was in Merrillville, Indiana. It was at the Holiday.
Okay, right. Star Plaza.
Star Plaza, right. And so the lighting man was also checking out the lights. He was testing the lights. So he turned out the lights in the theater, and I'm there just singing my heart out, Killing Me Softly and all of that, all her great songs. And when the lights came up, she was sitting there in the audience. And she said to me, she said, you know what? She says, you're getting too comfortable sitting on the stool singing ooh and ah behind me. She said, I'm lovingly firing you, and I'm going to introduce you to some people, and you got to go get your own career. And that's how it started.
And so how long from that moment to you actually signing a deal did it take?
About an hour and a half.
Really?
No.
I was going to say, that's a myth. I was like, that's what people usually think, but maybe because you're Luther, but most people it doesn't happen like that.
The money that I saved with Ben Midler and Bowie and Roberta singing background for them, I made my own demos. We went in the studio, everybody played for free. We got the studio for free, the engineer for free, wow. Sissy Houston and everybody came in and sang for free. And I took the demos around, and Never Too Much and House Is Not a Home. and it got turned down by every record company in the business. Got turned down by every single, and I went everywhere. Big companies, small companies, that got turned down. And so as I'm sitting home depressed, watching all my children, you know, just doing what I do. You know? Yeah, right, exactly. You know, I said, you know, I have to give this another shot. I have to give this another shot. So I started with Epic. What had happened was that the person who fate would have it would understand the music that I was making wasn't there the first time that I went. That's why I always tell young people who are doing a career, a record company is a record company, true, but it is also the person that sees and likes what you do that makes the difference, you know, because it could be an entirely different company if somebody who doesn't understand your music is there the day that you bring your music into the place. So I went back expecting, you know, really expecting rejection. And I put it on, and you know, I saw Larkin, you know, his head started bumping. I said, wait, he understands the groove, you know, he feels it, you know, and he signed me, and that's how it got started.
So what was the first album making process like for you?
It was,
Was it rough?
No, it wasn't at all rough. It was great. First of all, I didn't have to do it with my money anymore.
That makes a difference.
So everything was fine once I got reimbursed for the original cost. It was the most exciting time in the world. You know, you're about to make it. You know, I was a kid who would sit in math class and draw pictures of the Temptations and Supremes that I'd seen on Ed Sullivan the night before, you know, and so I mean, my head, my heart, everything was immersed in this business. I wanted that. I never planned, when I went to college, to Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, I did not go back the second year because I really did not want a plan B. I said, you know, it's going to be this or I'm going to be 80 trying to do it, you know, before. So I said, if I get a plan B, enough rejection will cause me to go ahead and fall back on plan B and all of that. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to focus my entire life and whole energy into this. And there is no other consideration. So rejection will just have to happen, and if it happens, it'll happen, and I'll keep on going. You know, that's it. So making the album.